Hey everyone, welcome back to Bros and Shows. I am your host, Josiah Mahler67, and with me, as always, I got my buddy, I got my pal, I got my brother Austin. Austin, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. I can't really complain. I think, I'm a little tired, but nothing too bad. I had a pretty simple week. Mainly just in the form of work, Magic the Gathering, and chilling at my house. And then on Saturday, I did have to take Terry. We went grocery shopping, and I took him to the Amtrak place because he was trying to get tickets for him to go home, but they were sold out. So nothing you can do there. And so now he's going to take a bus and he should be able to get there no issue. So everything will work out in the end.
Mm-hmm.
But what about you, man? How was your week?
Busy. Very busy. I did a bunch of trainings at my work to train in Yukiru, which is Japanese to receive. That's the name of, that's what that means. But it's like no restraint training. So I don't put people in restraints. I use like pads and other things to like help them guide them through like their behaviors. So yeah, I did that Monday and Tuesday. Those were 12-hour trainings. They were intense too. Like they made us do drills and stuff with the pads where they hit the pads and everything. Then we had to like move back and forth and like, what if someone took your pad, stuff like that. A lot of fun, kind of. It's just a lot of that. But overall, did that. And then yesterday we went to Legoland Discovery Center in Easton, and we got to ride a couple rides. They only had like 2 rides there, and then they had like a 4D theater.
Thing, right?
Yeah, the Legoland in Columbus is just like 2 small rides that were like, one was a shooting gallery ride and the other one was like a flight ride indoors, and then they had like a bunch of Lego stuff that you could do, and then they had like a 4D theater, which was okay, and then we drove on the complete side of Ohio to a drive-through Halloween like show. So it was like if you've ever done like holiday lights where they have like drive-through holiday lights, this was a Halloween one.
Like a follow this path, you'll see all the different houses.
Yeah, well, no, like so they have these like events in Ohio where it's like a big old campground, like usually a state campground, and then they have Christmas lights that are sponsored for like a company sponsors them, and then you drive through it, and it's like $20 to go through a drive-through. So they had a Halloween themed one in close to Cleveland, Ohio. So we went there. They had like themes of like, Nightmare Before Christmas, Stranger Things, Aliens. It was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun yesterday. So yeah, I did all that. And then I just been, watching shows, playing guitar, stuff like that. That's all I've been doing. So really nothing too excited.
No, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And that's good. You were doing that all with your guys' foster kid, right?
Yeah. He's super excited to meet you. I've been telling a lot about you.
Why
and stuff
is he
like
excited to meet me?
I talk you up. That's how that works. Let me share.
Is there anything in particular that he likes that I do that he is excited for, or is it just?
It's more of like me and you have the same like aspect with him. Like he does like playing Minecraft. That's like one of his jams. Lately he's been playing Slime Rancher because I got it for him. But he likes to do like art. Actually, he does a lot of like cool stuff with pipe cleaners. He makes like art stuff. It's pretty cool. Like he loves skeletons, so he makes like tons of skeletons and stuff with his pipe cleaners and stuff, and it's pretty cool. And he loves Legos, so he's a
that
cool
makes sense
kid.
why you guys went there.
yeah, he loves Legos, so yeah. So yeah, he's he's doing great here. He loves it here, so, and we love him here, so
that's
great.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. I think that's a really nice thing that you all do, and I'm glad that you guys enjoy it so much to want to like take them to locations that I don't think they would normally go to in like foster care places. You know, like
Yeah, and then like next week we're taking him to the Ren Fair because it's the last
that's
way
awesome.
of the Ren Fair. And I told him, I was like, "You ever been to one?" He's like, "No." And I was like, "Oh well, it's like, do you know what medieval is?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "It's kind of like that. There's like knights, they joust, there's turkey legs, there's just a whole bunch of cool Renaissance stuff." And he's like,
Mhm.
"That sounds awesome." So we're going next Sunday to that. And then Saturday we have a fall festival that we go to over at my buddy's house, and we're gonna do go-karts and stuff like that. So I think he'll have a blast doing all that stuff. So
Oh,
yeah.
for sure, for sure. Half of the
Yeah.
time, like you say go karts. Like I remember as a kid driving past, like on the way to school on the bus, and we passed
Yep.
the go kart track that was in Longville, and I was
Mhm.
always like, man, I would love to do that someday if we ever have money.
Yep.
But yeah, that was the thing growing up kind of poor. You just had to do everything you could just to make some money, and most of the time it was just mom and dad doing everything, and us being like, "What can we do?" It's like go to school and go home. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, David. No, that's great. I'm glad to hear all that stuff. I'm excited to meet the little guy. I'm sure it'll be fun. Anyways, Austin, speaking about doing everything possible to make some money, Austin, this week we watched Helluva Boss, a show that I'm a big fan of.
Mhm.
We watched Has Been Hotel on here, which was a show I had you watch from Amazon Prime. And recently, Helluva Boss, which was a YouTube only show, got picked up by Amazon Prime, so all their stuff went onto Prime. Austin, we watched season 1. What did you think of Helluva Boss season 1? And please, God, tell me you didn't watch this with the little kid.
No. He actually knew what Has Been Hotel was.
Oh yeah,
because I asked him, I was like, "Have you?" And he's like, "Yeah."
It's like FNAF, right? Like even if they don't watch it, they know what it is.
He he got to see like a little bit of it because he walked in, and then I turned it off. Like, "Oh hey, you know," it was actually the part in the Demons nightclub, and I was like, "Oh no!" Like I was like, "Oh, lucky you caught that."
We don't let that one.
Yeah. I'm gonna be probably maybe in the majority here, or maybe in the minority of this, but I actually like this better than Has Been. I like it because I like so the difference that I like about this is like I like that it's this realm of like, hey, you know, we get revenge for you. We kill people for your, you know, for your revenge. And I think that's more of like a sustainable thing, in my opinion, compared to Has Been Hotel, where it just feels like it's like trying. I like Has Been Hotel. I think it's great. But the thing is like I felt like it was missing something. And I think a lot of like the characters, the difference is maybe it could be one of the voice actors in this show. It could be because I'm a huge fan of him. But also another thing that blew me away was another voice actor that showed up, an actor actually that showed up. And I was like, is that who I think it is? And then I was like, yep, it's Norman Reedus. Yeah. So I was like, hey, Daryl Dixon's here. But he's the snake. I think he's a snake. I don't remember what I think he's technically considered a snake, like outlaw. I don't know. Or
he
something.
I believe that's Striker, right?
Yeah, Striker.
Yeah, Striker. Yeah. So he's an imp. And this is, so here's the thing, Awesome. This show comes out maybe once every like it comes out like an episode every 2, 3, maybe 4 months, right?
Yeah.
Everything you watched here was about 3 years old. But it wasn't really 3 years old. It was 3 years of one episode.
Yeah.
And that's they just finished season 2, and they're creating the next part of season 3, right? But season 3 is going to be on Amazon as well, so they got more budget to be able to do more things. With that in mind, this show was like the beginning of the Has Been like Helluverse series.
Yeah.
You can easily tell by like watching it, like the animation was a little choppier in the beginning episodes. But the world has a lot of lore to the world. Because this all takes place in Hell, which takes place in the same Hell from Hell has been Hotel. This takes place in the Pride Ring because they get contracts from Hell, basically the humans who die. Whenever they come to Hell, they get contracts for them. Humans only exist on the Pride Ring. They don't exist anywhere else. What this show follows are the imps, the Blitz, Millie, Moxie, and Luna, right? Imps are the lowest of the low people in Hell's like hierarchy, besides Hellhounds. Hellhounds are a little lower. They're like owned by people effectively, which is kind of what you see with Luna, except Blitz views her more as a child, like his daughter, and he adopted her. But if you see how other people like react to him, they always point out that they're imps, or like, why you do this, like, oh, you're this with that. You see it in the one episode, you mentioned the nightclub episode, whenever they find out that Stolas is him together, they're like, Stolas, are you with him? Are you sleeping with an imp? Like, they make it seem like a big, horrible thing, which to their society, they try to do the offense, right? So you see these people doing a job that is like above their station effectively in this hierarchy system. Of course, they're doing it illegally, you find out throughout the whole thing. But anyways, I said all that just to say that one of the lore bits, or one of the fan theories that are in it, is that you have the 7 like demons of hell. We've met 2 in this season. We met Asmodeus, which you would know it like from like Christian, like he's a demon of hell. And then we also met Beelzebub. We met those 2, and each one has a part of the rings that they take over, right? You have Asmodeus, which is in the lust ring, because you know he's the god of lust, or the demon of lust. Beelzebub is the guys, or the demon of what is that called? I'm blinking out. Where it's like you overindulge. Like you know what I'm talking about. Like the overindulgence, whatever, the debauchery, I guess. I don't know. There's a term for it. Like one of the 7 deadly sins.
Oh, it's gluttony.
Gluttony. Thank you. Yeah. So they're all like part of the 7 deadly sins. Blah blah blah. Well, each of the different rings and each of the different demons have effective like style of like beings with them. You see the Goetia, which is what like Ozzy's is, and so on and so forth. You haven't seen a lot of the other ones yet, but you have seen them in Hazbin Hotel. What Striker is he's a mix of 2 types, or at least people believe he's a mix of 2 types. And he's the mix of the shark one, because there's like these lizard shark people, and an imp, and then Blitz is believed to be a mix between a succubus and an imp. And those are still fan theories yet, but the one thing that like the Hazbin Hotel and Helluva Boss universe does very well is make things very consistent and have things presented before they're revealed. We've already seen that in a couple of episodes in this season as well. But without all of the aside, you said you liked it. Mm-hmm. You liked it more than Hazbin, and you said it's because of sustainability. I'm trying to understand your thought process.
I think that like it's more of like these episodes can be episodic more than Hazbin Hotel can, because Hazbin Hotel like follows this steady thing of like her trying to like get angels to like, I mean like get people to like transfer into good, demons to be good, instead of like the whole thing. So like it's more of like when I watched Hazbin Hotel, it's like, hey, this is the story arc, you know, and then Gabriel shows up, and then I forget his name, Alabaster, that's his name. You know, he shows Alabaster, Alabaster, whatever. I thought his name was Alabaster, whatever, but Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't watched it in a couple years. Man.
But the thing is, it's like it's more of like a show where you have to watch it in sync. I don't feel it's more episodic because you don't know what's going on with the angels and everything unless like you watch those in like sequence.
I'm going to warn you now because I understand what you're saying. You like episodic. This show is not episodic. Next season, you're going to notice it.
That's what I feared. Like, I was like, well, I think like since they got the funding for it, it might have a bigger story arc for it. Because really, in reality, the only story arc that I've seen, but you can make that more episodic, is like the part where you find out that like I forget his name, like the elder owl or whatever.
Oh, Stolas.
Stolas.
He's one of my favorite characters. I love the Birdman.
So Stolas, like you find out that his wife is the one that hires Norman Reedus.
Yeah.
And she's trying to kill him. I was like, okay, I see that story arc, but that can be worked in throughout episodic episodes. That doesn't have to mean that like, you know, it has to stay one arc. That's the only thing I saw. And I was like, oh, okay, so this is an episodic show. But now since you're telling me that season 2 is going to change on that, I think that there's going to be more driven towards like knowing more about the background of these people. I don't know.
You're not wrong. We see it like Helluva kind of does this thing where they'll introduce like 1 or 2 episodes where it will be like background based episodes where you understand someone's background a little more. We do definitely get that in season 2 a lot more. The funny thing is why this show did so well on YouTube to begin with is that they didn't make it perceive episodic in the first season. Each episode you could look at and be like, oh, I'm watching this episode, it's its own little thing, right? But it is episodic because from the get-go there's a story that's happening. Like the first episode, did you watch it? Did you watch the episode 0 that's on Prime?
That was the first episode I actually watched.
So episode 0 is a redone of the pilot episode, but they retcon certain things from the pilot because they don't make sense no more in the grand scheme of the story. One of the big retcons that people were like, I can't believe they did that, is Luna. There's a joke in Luna where Blitzo gives her a gift. It's like, here you go, darling, here's my gift. And she's like, what is it? It's like, is it the cure for syphilis? And he's like, no. And then she like breaks it open. She gets real mad because she's like dealing with it. And spiders just go over. He's like, oh my god, so sorry. It was spiders. Happy birthday. And then he runs away. And so like the big thing that got retconned is they got rid of the whole thing about the joke of her having syphilis. That was just one of the things they retconned, right?
Yeah.
And people were like, okay, like it was a pilot, so people had this issue with taking things in the pilot as like 100% canon. Because Stolas in the pilot was presented as a evil overseer. Like he was allowing Blitzo to do these things, but he appeared to be the villain of the show.
Yeah. And
then they did that away because Stolas is now like kind of like the lover of Blitz, and they have a very messy relationship. And you get in next season, you get more understanding of what that relationship is and where it's becoming like there's obviously some form of misunderstanding between them. Because you saw it in the Beelzebub episode when he's talking with him before like driving off. He's like, you know, you could come in, we could watch something or just talk. He's like, don't act like this is something more than just me having sex with you. I'm not up for it tonight. And he leaves. And so like you get this like conflicts and everything of that sort. And one of the reasons why I feel like this show did so well when it was airing is because it would introduce things but not say what those things were and allowed people to like figure it out prior. So for instance, we got introduced to a character. There was a back character that they literally came on for like 3 seconds. She's one of my favorite characters. She's Millie's sister. Did you notice anything about Millie's sister, or did you not even pay attention to her because she was a back character? I completely understand if you did.
She actually shows up like the episode of when they go to the when they meet Norman Reedus for the first time, Stryker.
Yeah.
I don't remember too much about her. I kind of remember.
She is literally in a single scene where Millie's like, how come Sally Mae gets to be in the festival? She murdered like 15 more people than me. And she's like, well, there won't be no activists if you don't have the bodies. Like, she said something like that, right? And leaves. Well, people saw that character and they're like, whoa, something's different about this character.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that people realize is that imps in the show, if you look at all the imps, male imps have thicker bands on their horns. Females have a lot thinner. If you look at Millie, she has really thin ones. Sally Mae is a canon trans character, and people love her. First off, her voice actor, fantastic. She's amazing. And she becomes a lot more prevalent at the end of season 2 because of certain events right now, right? Sally Mae is one of my favorite characters. I have, actually, it's hard to see, but I have a picture of her in a Scarecrow outfit for one of their Halloween drops. But she's just a really cool, because she's a character that is very like supportive and loving of her sister. And as you saw in that episode, her sister's kind of being viewed as her mom and dad as like, oh, you're going off doing that whole big city living. We know you'll be fine, but like you would be more happier here type deal thing. And Sally Mae is much more like, you go do what you gotta do, sis. I love you. And you just kind of love her for it. So you'll see her more for all that stuff. But that's the level of like lore stuff that gets dropped in individual episodes that like the fandom clings to and learn. Like just little small tidbits of things, and people are like, wait, hold up. What does this mean? And honestly, I'm one of those people, so like I'll like gaslight myself on that. I 100% talk through things more than what it probably shows, you know? What did you think about like the pacing of this show? It was only 8 episodes. Season 1's only 8. Season 2 is 12, I believe.
So I will say this: too fast. It's not. I think the episodes pace fine. Mm-hmm. I think that if they were maybe another like 10-minute episode, like 10 minutes an episode, I think it would be a more watchable thing. I feel like it went too fast for me. Like I loved it. I loved it and I enjoyed it. But then after I watched an episode, I was like, maybe if it had like just 10 more minutes of this would have worked out. Because there's a lot of times where I feel like some of the storyline is rushed because they're under like a certain time limit that they can have. And I think at the time that happened, probably it was because of YouTube restrictions. I don't know, maybe.
I believe it was more like funding situations, because this was before Vizzy got either Has-Been or Helluva Boss like picked up. She was paying for this stuff basically out of pocket and with like what do you call it, merchandise effectively. And so she was hiring her animators and doing all that stuff with a very small budget. And so 15 minutes was basically as far as they could push it for the time being. That does change. I will say in season 2 they up the time for it, so you'll feel better with that. Season 1's honestly so quick. You could watch. I think I rewatched it after my friend left for today. Like he left around 4, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to rewatch Helluva Boss season 1, and I finished it before like we even talked tonight. I'm like, that's crazy. 8 episodes within like 2 hours is crazy.
It reminded me so much of Castlevania season 1, because Castlevania season 1 is just an hour and 40-minute watch, and I've watched that season more than anything of Castlevania because I'm like, it's fast. I can watch 6 episodes that are 20-minute episodes within like, well, no, I think they're like 15-minute episodes. And I'm like, and I was like, and sometimes 15 minutes works for certain things and sometimes it doesn't. I think like regular show is perfect for the 15 minutes, but there's like tons of that. They had funding for that.
Well,
I feel like
maybe 40 episodes each season too. This is only 12 episodes.
If this show had like 14, like if it had 24 episodes, I think it'd been really okay, but I can totally understand with the funding. I will say, like, after I got done watching season 1, I was like, I really just want to keep watching season 2. But then I stopped myself because I was like, I can't do that to myself because then I'll blend the seasons together. That's just how that is. It's just too short.
and here's the honest truth about season 1 to season 2. The story gets a lot like intenser and better, intense. You get to show different characters, and I think it's season 2 of season 1 it's one of my favorite episodes because of who it follows. It follows Octavia, which is Stolas's child, right? You got the Lululand episode with her, and you kind of get to see how she kind of like she very much has just this teenage kind of concept. And I will also warn you, people got very upset with her by the end of season 2, and you'll get to decide your opinion whenever you watch that. I'm wondering your opinion on that, but I want to ask you, Awesome. This show has a lot less musical numbers than that Has Been Hotel. Has Been is very much a musical show. This has a couple musical numbers spread about very low. Did you like any of them a lot? Like, did you enjoy any of them?
There was one that I thoroughly enjoyed because I really enjoyed the tone that it was happening, and I thought it was great. And it actually did a little reference to something that I'm in love, I really enjoy. And that was the episode where the agents capture them.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
And the song that he's like, "You're tripping balls," and it's like, it was so funny. Like, because the thing is like what I was saying before is there's a reason I actually probably like the show a little bit more, because there is a voice actor in here that I love, and that's Richard Horvitz, which is the guy that plays Rasputin and Alpha 5 from Power Rangers. That's how I first remember him.
A lot of people also know him from Billy and Mandy.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
100%. When he started talking, I was like, I know that's the voice of Billy and Mandy, but his voice he's doing for this show is closer to that of Rasputin.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, Raz, my man.
Well, that and a lot of other people know him from Invader Zim, because he was.
Yeah, that's true.
Zim.
Yep, that's true too. Yep.
Which I've never watched the show, but I've heard that he was in it. So
I've never watched it either. It was on during a time where we didn't have cable, so I never.
Yeah, that's the thing. But the thing is, it's like I thoroughly enjoyed Moxie as a character. I really enjoy Moxie. I think he's a fun character. He kind of reminds me of myself, where I'm like this helpless romantic, and people just take me for granted sometimes. They're like, "Oh, this guy's just a wimp," or "This guy's just he's goofy," or he's more of like crazy, like he's weird. And I think Moxie's very misunderstood. Especially because like the scene where like he finally stands up to his like mother and father-in-law, I was like, yeah, that's a point where you become like a different person, because you're trying to fit in so much and try to like these people, that like it made me realize that when I got older and I started dating more, like that was happening, where I was trying to fit in with them instead of me just fitting in as myself. And I was like, yeah, I liked how he took that. He was like, hey, I might not be strong and super fast, but like, I love your daughter, and like, she loves me for who I am. And I'm like, yeah, that's the truth. Like, that's how you get good relationships with, stand your ground. Well, I enjoy it a lot.
Sorry.
No, I was going to say, I enjoyed the show a lot. I will say my favorite episode is Lululand. I loved Lululand. I thought it was hilarious and funny. It made fun of so much stuff that I just laugh about, because I love that there's an animatronic of just like this guy that's like a sexual robot thing, and it's just funny. And I laugh so hard when I had to take like a second take and rewind it for a minute, where they like show the owl guy, I always forget his name, Stolas's daughter, and him at the show, like when she was younger. And then like you see Brandon Rogers' character, I forget his name, Blitz is like working there as like a clown or something. And like I took a second take, I was like, wait, he's been here before? Oh man, he's probably had a relationship with that guy, because he's just crazy.
So awesome. That's the thing. Those are the little things that people would cling on to be like, oh, what's this? And whenever like they had the little flashback of her being a kid, and then like the robot, and then it shows Blitz in the back, and they're like, "Oh, I hate that clown." People were like, "Oh, that's why his name's Blitzo, because that's like a clown-based name, right? He worked at the carnival. He no longer works there anymore, and he's like, I'm just Blitz, right?" And obviously, who the robot is based off of, he also hates, because he's like, I make more money than you being a rip-off of some overpriced clown. Which you do get to see the clown later. He's the clown from the Asmodeus one. Which you see how they treat him once they find out he's in the audience. Both him and Verasica. Those were things that were like heavily talked about and debated about. That it's like maybe Blitz is like an ex-clown or something like that. Because he has the marking on his head, and people were like, "What's that marking mean? Why does no one else have that?" And then whenever they showed the clown has the same marking on his head. And so it's like, okay, maybe this is a marking of like clown people or whatnot. Like we don't know clown people, of like carnival people, right? And we don't know yet, and we'll see more in the next season. And until season 2 came out, people were speculating hardcore about that stuff. Just wondering like who is Fizz, how does Fizzarolli and Blitz know each other? Also, if you haven't noticed already, Fizzarolli is voiced by Alex Brightman, the voice of Adam from Hazbin Hotel. There's a couple of like really big voiceover actors in this season playing characters that honestly I'm surprised. I'm surprised you instantly caught on to Norman Reedus. Because whenever he was playing, I did not know that was Norman Reedus for the longest time. I was just like...
See, a lot of people remember Norman Reedus. A lot of people know Norman Reedus as one thing, and that is Daryl Dixon. I do not remember. I was not a fan. I was a fan of Norman Reedus way before Walking Dead. He did a little movie that I love called Boondock Saints. And his voice is very distinctful. But what's really crazy about Norman Reedus is after watching Boondock Saints, I was like, who is this guy? I've never seen him before. And I'd always get him mixed up with certain people from certain movies. I thought he was like in the Blade movie, but that's Edward Furlong. He looks exactly the same in that movie. So I was like, that's Norman Reedus. But then I started like looking up Norman Reedus. He's got a crazy life. That dude almost died. Like his eye is like, if you ever like see Norman Reedus's face, have you noticed like his eye looks weird?
Yeah.
Like if you ever stare at his eye, it's because he got in an accident and his eye fell out in the middle of the accident, and he put it back in, and then like the ligaments like grew back in weird. So like I didn't know that until I researched it, but like I knew it was Norman Reedus because he just has that distinctful voice. And I was just like, there for a minute, I was like, they got Norman Reedus for this? I thought this was a YouTube thing. But then at the point where I was like, maybe Hello Boss was like happening right around the time that Walking Dead was happening. So he was taking it. But also too is Norman Reedus is also that kind of guy that I know that only takes certain roles that he wants to take. He does not take anything that he's like, you know, I'm going to take this role because I need money. He likes like low budget stuff. I knew that for a long time. So when I was like, Norman Reedus, which is great because he plays his character very well. I love Stryker. I think he's a fun little character.
People love Stryker. Like a lot of the characters from the show, like they make the joke in the show where they talk. It's like, you're not going up to the human world, Looney. You don't know what type of freaks live out there. And then they all like deadpan and look at the screen, and they all look at you in disgust. Because when Luna got shown off, people instantly started making furry stuff on her. They went above and beyond on that. They did the exact same thing with Stryker. When Stryker started doing stuff, instantly people were like, we love this guy.
So what's really funny is the dog, when you brought up, he's like, you don't know what kind of sick people live up there. And they turn at the camera. I was waiting. The first time I saw Luna, I was like, dude, this has to be a furry thing. Like, people are probably loving this. The furry community is loving it. And then when they did that and punched that joke in, I was like, they even know that this is a joke. You know, and I was like, okay, they know, they recognize.
So freaking, like,
Yeah.
Luna is one of those characters that if you look her up, you better have safe search turned on, because you're getting slammed with a bunch of porn. And it's messed up, but that's what happens with it. And Stryker is kind of on that level too, for different reasons. It's crazy sometimes with it. I will say, like, Stolas is one of my favorite characters, and the next season, their relationship gets really like gray, to the point where people argue who's in the wrong or who's in the right, and you'll get to decide whenever we watch the next week, whenever we do the season, we'll have a longer discussion about that, because we get a lot about the lore of the world in like the way of like imps live in like the Wrath Ring. If they live in the Pride Ring, it's only because they do things for the overlords, in fact, like the humans that were killed and come back. In Hazbin Hotel, that story focuses on the Pride Ring, because when the angels come down to exterminate the hell people, I forget the term they use for them. They're only killing the humans who've died. They're not killing Hellborns, because the Hellborns are not overpopulating. It's the humans that are overpopulating, because the humans keep dying and coming to hell instead of going to heaven. And so everyone kind of assumed there was going to be crossovers between the two, but when it has been got picked up by Amazon, but then Helluva didn't, people assumed they were going to keep them separated, because they were technically like, they were the same IP owned by the same people, but there was issues there. Now that both are in Amazon Prime, they've already confirmed that there's going to be crossover episodes where the two interact with each other. And people are really excited for it, because you have Blitz and everyone obviously being shown as if they are being looked out upon by certain other people. Verosika looks down on him. Fizzy, even Ozzy looks down on him. And so they're trying to make a place in their thing. Even like whenever he talks with Stryker explains to him, was like, we're better than others of our kind. Look at you making a whole job for yourself and a career, when other people are toiling, being basically slaves to the other hellspawns. And so you will get more of that understanding and knowledge come next season, which I'm really excited for, because some of my favorite episodes come from season 2. I will say my favorite song in this, because I'm a song person, I like the Osmodeus song. The one where Moxie and Millie are singing like their love song, and then Fizzy and him comes in. I just love the voice of Ozzy just jumping in there and just saying his things. I'm like, oh, this is good. But it's really good, and you start seeing some really interesting dynamics, and some pretty like crying based ones. Like, you'll be like, oh, I'm not okay with this story. It makes me feel emotions, and I'm not cool with that. You kind of got that a little bit. I get it a little bit during the second episode with Octavia and him, whenever he like goes up and like finds her crying in his bed, and she's like, I had a dream, you weren't here and I couldn't find you and you were nowhere, and he's just like, oh, don't worry, that will never happen. And then he like sings to her about how like even when I'm gone, I'll still be there, like in your eyes and like looking at you, and it just is like, oh, that's so emotional. It's so much. And then it just cuts to her waking up as like a teenager and puts on the song. It's just like, my life is dirty. It's all burning. It's like, whoa, what's that song you're listening to? It's called I Hate My Life by F You Dad. It's a band. Oh, that's nice.
So what's really funny is I actually looked up like a couple of the cast members. Of course I did, after I found out Rowan Marias. The girl that plays Luna, I've seen her before, and I kept like, when I looked her up, I think it was like 3 days ago, I looked her up and I was like, she looks so familiar. Where do I know her from? Then I realized she was on a YouTube channel that I still watch this day, and she's actually been on that YouTube channel show, which is Oni Plays. She was on Oni Plays, and then she was on Smiling Friends.
Yeah, she was definitely on Smiling Friends. I know about that. She was the
and
princess.
I know for a fact because I found this out when I was researching for Smiling Friends season 2. I think it was when we were doing season 2. I've been waiting for you to do Helluva Boss because season 2, one of Smiling Friends Oni players is on there. That is Michael Cusack. The creator of Smiling Friends was Zach Hannard.
Yep. He plays another great character that I despise, but he's a great character.
I've heard a lot of people talk about it because, like, there's someone, the guy I take care of for my second job. He loves Has-Been Hotels. He was like, "You don't understand, man." He's like, "Wait, you did never watch this before?" It's like, "No, this is my first time." He's like, "Dude." He's like, "Dude, this sucked when this came out." And I was like, "Why?" And he's like, "Dude, we'd had to wait like 6 to 3 months, like for an episode." And it was like, "Oh my gosh." And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "But he's like, I did watch season 2." And he was like, I was telling him about Michael Cusack, and he's like, "Oh, he's the guy that plays the Mammon." And I was like, "Okay." And he was like, "Dude, you'll love that character. He's good in that." And I was like, "Okay, good." So
he's the demon of greed, if that tells you anything.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's even better. But yeah, I'm super stoked to see season 2 because of that. I can't wait for Michael Cusack. I love Michael Cusack. It's kind of like when I watched Moana for the first time, and I was like, Rock Dwayne Johnson. It's okay. And then they're like, there's this huge crab. And then this crab started talking, and I was like,
wait a minute.
This guy sounds familiar. And they started singing Shine It. And I was like, this is Gerard Clemens. I know that voice. And it's the same thing with like some of those voices are always distinctful. Like Gerard Clemens to me is always distinctful. Waka Takiti is, it's just certain voice actors. I'm like, hey, I know this person. I know how they are. Like Norman Reedus, I didn't expect that. But how he talks is what got me to be like, this sounds like Norman Reedus. And then I was like, wow. I don't think Norman Reedus, I've never remember Norman Reedus doing like a voice acting show. Like I don't think he ever. And if
what's funny is that like people point out to like Norman did like podcasts a couple years ago where he was talking about how like when he started getting more jobs as like after he became famous because of Walking Dead, his agents were like setting him up for like kind of more weirder things. And one of the weird things he got set up for was the Silent Hill PT demo. And he basically got told by his producers, just like, don't worry about it. Don't care what this is. Do whatever they say, because it's involving this famous director, and you're going to want to be part of it. And then after he did that, he became friends with Kojima, and he's just like, he's in all of Kojima's games now. Like,
and he's gonna be in a new Silent Hill too. So like,
he's gonna be in a new Silent. I'm convinced that if Kojima could, he'll release a new Metal Gear Solid game. But like Norman Reedus is going to be the Snake of that game.
Yeah,
it's going to be like Super Snake or something like that, and it's going to be Snake's kid.
I really want the Ocelot. I want Jake Busey to play Ocelot. That'd be funny.
But the next season we're going to get a couple more voice actors that you'll recognize. You already mentioned Michael Cusack. A couple other people, and one person that will make a very, very, very small introduction, but he's from one of our favorite shows that we've ever watched. So
I already know who it is because
you looked up the cast, and the cast.
Well, I looked at the cast, and it showed him, and I was like, I didn't know he was in that, but I knew Michael Cusack was in because.
Yeah. Well, he's a very small part right now. He's apparently going to play a huge part in season 3. Because of some of the stuff that happened.
He's doing a lot of voice acting work. I didn't know he was in Harley Quinn. And then like I watched Harley Quinn, and he's actually a big character in Harley Quinn. And I was like, this guy sounds familiar. And then I started listening. I was like, yeah, it's Harvey. It's old Harvey. So yeah.
It's a big boy. We love that man.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, this is unfortunately a short season. I still very much enjoy it. I listen to a lot of the music constantly, a lot. But awesome. I think that's going to basically do it for this season, for this episode of bros and shows, unless you have something else you want to talk about or say. I think next episode's going to be a little longer because I'm going to talk about like lore stuff as well as like speculations and like other things like that. So,
oh yeah,
we'll see when that goes. But anyways, awesome.
This will be the time where we talk about speculations and we'll get to like plan it out. It's not like how Steven Universe was, where I was watching at the same time you were, and they were like, "This is what this is," and it's like, "Oh no, this, it ended." So I got to watch all that. So this is gonna be cool. We'll have our own theories on like what might be moving forward.
We'll get our own theories. We'll get to do that again with Hazbin Hotel season 2 as well, because that's coming out in 2 weeks. So it'll be all good. And Austin, I'm also wearing the Octavia shirt I have, so that's fine. Anyway, Austin, thank you so much for joining me on this episode, as always. And thank you all so much for stopping by, and thank you all so much for tuning in.